What's good with poppin', man? It's your boy Helgi. Look at that beautiful sky we had today, bro. And look at that beautiful motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I just got finished sun gazing for about 3 sessions. You feel me? But here in today's video, man, I want to talk to y'all about something I discovered called Wim Hof method. Now, if you're just now getting started on your spiritual journey, you may already know that breathing has a big influence on your consciousness and the way you feel and your emotions. Like, when you're stressed out, bro, literally, like, people don't know how powerful just sitting back and taking a deep breath really is, and how that really, like, relaxes your mind and your body at the same time. Like, it's really simple, man. All we gotta do is breathe. But what I want y'all to do is there's a man named Wim Hof, okay? This nigga here is a legend, bro. And let me tell you why he's a legend. Bro, this man has broken records for swimming underneath a frozen lake. Like, literally, bro, this man cut open a frozen lake, sat in it, and did the Wim Hof breathing method until the core of his body was hot so he could do it. Because basically, I think the point that you're going to freeze to death is when your core becomes cold. That's when, like, you can't feel anything and you just lose control of your body. So that's why he did the breathing real quick to heat up the inside of his body. And then this man swam underneath an ice cold motherfucking lake. Like, he literally just cut open one big piece of it, sat in that bitch, and swam underneath, like, far as hell, and came all the way back. Bro, he set the record for it. Like, do you know how cold that is? And it's like, if he fell and drowned under there, like, no one was gonna be able to save him because the water's just too cold. Like, the average human, their mind would fuck with them swimming under that water. Like, the average human's mind is not strong enough to swim through the cold like him and go and save him. So he's a legend, bro.
You can't begin to imagine how cold this really is. He's now taking slow breaths just to slow down his heartbeat. And he's off. A huge breath and he's under. The danger involved here is absolutely colossal. For a normal person, the body temperature would drop so much in just a few seconds in this water, the death would almost certainly follow. Hypothermia could set in at any moment. But not for Wim, because he has perfected an ancient yoga art called inner fire, which allows him to keep his inner temperature even. David Blaine, eat your heart out. Look at how clear that water is. Just as well, because you really want to be able to see where you're going in this one. 50 meters, he's nearly there, just a tiny bit more. Cameramen, safety men, just in case something goes wrong. He can see the light. Yes, there is light at the end of the tunnel, or in this case, ice. Just a little bit more. And there you go. He's made it. Absolutely astounding. Now, quick, get him out, wrap him up, and get him warm. Get that core temperature back to normal. This is where it can all go wrong. This is where it's serious.
Like, and he took himself to the doctor and shot himself with an E. coli bacteria. This man did that and fought off the bacteria by simply just breathing in 10 minutes. It's crazy. Like, that shit was gonna make him sick. E. coli, that shit will make you sick as hell. Like, he fought it off in 10 minutes simply by just, like, that's all he did.
If you take the bits of a dead bacteria and introduce them into someone's body, in all likelihood the person's immune system is going to flare as if it's under attack. As harmless as dead bacteria might sound, the body will still react as if it's being invaded. These dead bits are also known as endotoxin and are a major red flag for the immune system. When your immune system does find endotoxin in the body, it will trigger the release of different proteins and physiological changes. It will make a person feel sick. Symptoms such as fever, nausea, headache, shivering are caused by your immune system gearing up to fight off infections. This is known as the innate immune response. It's fantastic. You can take any person, inject them with endotoxin, and watch them feel terrible for a short while. And that's what scientists at Radboud University did, with over 100 people, mapping out a predictable innate immune response. Now, it wasn't believed that one could voluntarily influence the innate immune response, but that's exactly what happened when scientists at Radboud injected Wim Hof with endotoxin. Using the breathing method he developed, he was able to dampen the immune response to the endotoxin's presence by flooding himself with adrenaline and stimulating the release of a key messaging protein, interleukin 10. This was achieved through voluntarily influencing the autonomic nervous system, the same system that beats your heart, remembers to breathe for you, and prepares you to fight or fly in the face of danger. A system that, for all intents and purposes, should not be controllable, because if we did have control over this system, we might forget to breathe or beat our hearts because we were thinking about cake. Yet, this is exactly what happened in the case of Wim Hof, voluntarily flooding his body with adrenaline, deliberate influence over his autonomic nervous system. So, what should be done? The possibility is that Wim Hof had different genetics from the average person, giving him the unique ability to withstand the endotoxin. So a larger test was needed, with more participants, performing the same techniques designed by Hof. 30 healthy male volunteers were gathered, 18 of whom would be trained by Wim Hof, and the other 12 the control to the larger endotoxin experiment. The 18 volunteers went to Poland to train in a mixture of meditation, cold exposure, and the breathing technique over 4 days, and would enjoy a gauntlet of swimming in freezing cold water, standing and lying in the snow, and for the ultimate test, climb a mountain at the elevation of 1,590 meters with wind chills of minus 27 degrees Celsius, all done in shorts. Very nice shorts too, the kind you wear at the beach. Those who weren't trained, the control group, were injected with endotoxin. They exhibited the typical symptoms and reactions of the innate immune response. Not a fun thing to experience, granted, but we suffer for science here, and yeah, they suffered. During the experiment, a lot of information was kept track of. This included the composition of the blood, cytokines, catecholamines, white blood cell count, and various physiological changes such as heart rate and temperature. This group did not commit to any breathing techniques, simply passively enduring the endotoxemia. The trained group, on the other hand, did commit to the breathing techniques during the first 2.5 hours of the 8-hour experimentation, and in the end were successful in dampening their innate immune response. But what happened? Well, let's walk through this. There were lots of fun bits of information collected, and I'll try to condense the more interesting parts. Firstly, most clearly, the trained group had a lot more adrenaline from the very start of the experiment due to the breathing, as compared to the control. This burst of adrenaline from the very start correlates nicely with the production of interleukin 10, an anti-inflammatory cytokine, or cell messaging protein. Here's the control for comparison. It's a little flatter. The anti-inflammatory element of interleukin 10 is that it inhibits the release of other cytokines that contribute towards inflammation and mediation of the innate immune response. As a result, the trained group had a less pronounced release of these inflammatory proteins compared to the control, had less acute symptoms, and recovered faster. Here were the cytokines kept track of in the control. Here they were in the trained group. Notice the difference in release. Far fewer in the trained group because of interleukin 10. Now, even though the inflammatory response was suppressed, white blood cells were not. Having adrenaline in the system actually stirred leukocytosis, an increase of white blood cells in the blood. Here's a graph showing the control's white blood cell count over the 8-hour experiment, as compared to the trained volunteers. Some of the categories of different white blood cells were also measured, but the experiment was limited in that not all subtypes were counted. So, stirred from adrenaline, it appears as though the immune system was still humming and working in the background, despite a dampened inflammation response. Being able to dampen inflammation is also wonderful news on its own. It implies an interesting alternative to those who suffer from excessive or persistent inflammation, especially when considering autoimmune diseases. The study of which this animation is based off is a precursor to more investigation. It had a small sample size, but the results were astonishing. The influence over the autonomic nervous system was probably the most striking part that even Peter Pickers, one of the scientists who orchestrated the study, expressed his surprise.
Onze belangrijkste conclusie, dat we nu voor het eerst heel duidelijk en onomstotelijk feitelijk hebben aangetoond dat een mens dus wel in staat is om zijn autonome zenuwstelsel en zijn immuunrespons op een vrijwillige manier te beïnvloeden. En dat was echt iets wat in de tekstboeken staat, dat kan niet.
If there's one thing this tells us, is that there are deeper layers of our bodies that we can consciously explore, a potential we should study, a potential within our biology, and it's all there in front of us. So, let's have fun exploring.
This nigga's a legend, but like, if you don't know what the Wim Hof breathing method is, basically, All it is you're breathing in the rhythm that I just did it. You're just breathing in and out like that 30 times. And then you're going to breathe all the way out. Exhale. And then hold that for a minute and 30 seconds or a minute and 40 seconds. Or for just however long that you can hold your breath. And then you inhale. And then you hold that for 15 seconds. And then breathe out. And that's one session. He has a guided breathing session. I'm going to put the link in the description. Like, it has a little meter or whatever. Like, it has a little diagram that, like, does the breathing with you. Like, every time you breathe, exhale, you know, it'll come out. Every time you inhale, it'll come in. So it's going to show you how you should breathe. And it's 3 rounds. I recommend y'all try it out, bro. Like, the feeling that people look for in drugs, you get that by just simply breathing, bro. The way this man breathes. So yeah, it's a short video, man. I just want to introduce y'all to Wim Hof if you don't know. So, my name is Helvey. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.